The last ember. The sky above Earth hadn't been blue in years. It hovered somewhere between rust and ash, thick with the memory of a war that ended everything. Ari walked the ruins of the old city with practiced silence, boots crunching softly over broken glass and scorched bone. He wasn't looking for anything specific. He hadn't for a long time. Scavenging was more ritual now than survival. Most days, he just needed proof the world was still there beneath the dust. Then, something different. The faint shimmer of energy flickered in the distance. It came from the canyon where the Korell dropships had once rained fire. That sector had been dead for years. Quiet. Abandoned. Which meant whatever was out there hadn't been here long. Ari narrowed his eyes and adjusted the scope on his old rifle. Crash site. He moved cautiously, weaving through the wreckage of rusted vehicles and skeletal buildings. The air hummed with residual static, Korell technology. He slipped through the jagged hull of a downed scout ship, the metal still warm to the touch. Inside, it reeked of burning coolant and blood. He swept his light across the cockpit. Crushed. Empty. Then a sound. A breath. He turned quickly, rifle raised, heart thudding. And saw her. Slumped against the wall, limbs twisted awkwardly, armor cracked and glowing faintly beneath its alien surface, she was Korell. Pale, tall, face framed by silver-white hair and dark blue veins that pulsed like living circuitry. Alive. Barely. Ari stepped closer, watching her chest rise and fall in shallow, slow rhythms. One of her legs was mangled beneath fallen debris. A long gash split her side, leaking a luminous fluid that reminded him of dying stars. She didn't look like the monsters he'd fought. She looked wrong here. Fragile. Out of place. Her eyes fluttered open, unfocused. "You're human," she whispered, voice hoarse, layered with a strange resonance. "You should kill me." Ari didn't answer. His finger twitched on the trigger, but didn't squeeze. Not yet. He stared at her, this soldier from the sky who once flew with the armada that reduced cities to ashes. He saw the desperation behind her eyes, not just fear, but the kind of silence that only comes after betrayal. "Why are you here?" he asked finally. She coughed, pain tightening her features. "Mission, confirm extinction. Ship damaged." Her head slumped to the side, and she lost consciousness. Ari lowered the rifle. He should have left her. Walked away and let the war finish what it started. But as he stood there, staring at this broken thing from the stars, something inside him shifted. Something he hadn't felt in a long time. Pity. Curiosity. Loneliness. He didn't know which was worse. With a grunt, he bent down and began to clear the debris from her leg. Carrying her back wasn't easy. She was tall, and his strength had withered over the years. But muscle memory kicked in, the same movements he used to carry wounded rebels through bombed-out streets, back when there were still people to save. His bunker wasn't far. Hidden beneath the ruins of an old subway station, fortified and stocked with supplies long thought useless. He placed her gently on the cot, sealed the hatch, and injected her with a sedative cocktail, human grade. It might kill her. It might not. He watched her breathe. In and out. Like something alive. He sat down against the wall, resting his rifle across his knees. "You're not supposed to be here," he murmured to the silence. "Neither of us are." Outside, the wind howled across the barren city, carrying dust and the bones of a forgotten civilization. Inside, a flickering bulb cast long shadows across metal walls. And between them, man and alien, enemy and stranger, existed a space too quiet to be war and too raw to be peace. Just survival. For now. Ghosts in the bunker. The hum of old generators filled the bunker with a steady, low vibration, the only rhythm Ari trusted anymore. It was a comfort, in a way, a reminder that something still worked in this broken world. He sat at the old metal table across from her, sipping bitter water from a cracked mug, his eyes never leaving the stranger sleeping in his cot. She'd been out for 2 days. Long enough for her wounds to scab over in strange blue lines. Her breathing had stabilized, no more shuddering. Whatever cocktail he'd given her had done its job, Or maybe her alien physiology just rejected the worst of Earth's toxins. He didn't know. And he wasn't about to poke around to find out. Still, he found himself watching her. Not like a soldier watches a threat. Not exactly. More like someone trying to understand what the hell he just brought home. The woman, no, the Korell, was unlike anything he'd seen up close. They'd always been distant shadows in the sky, booming voices in fleet broadcasts, plasma bursts from orbit. Her presence here, unconscious and wounded, made her feel less like an invader and more like a survivor. Just like him. He should have hated her. But hate took effort. And Ari was tired. The Korell stirred, a low breath escaping her lips as her silver eyes fluttered open. The moment she saw him, she flinched, hand twitching toward her side. He didn't move. "Come," he said simply. "You're not dead. Yet." Her voice was raw. "Why?" Ari shrugged. Didn't feel like killing someone who was already dying. "That's not an answer." "I know." Silence stretched between them like a blade. She tried to sit up and winced. Ari moved, not to help, but to grab a small bottle of water and toss it her way. She caught it with trembling hands. "Where am I?" she asked. "My bunker." Undisclosed. Subterranean. Former rebel hideout. Welcome to Post-Earth. She looked around slowly, taking in the ancient panels, rusted pipes, scavenged tech lining the walls. The flicker of old solar lanterns gave everything a washed-out hue. It smelled like oil, metal, and something faintly burnt. "It's primitive." Ari smirked. "Better than being dead in your wreck." She sipped the water slowly, eyes still scanning. "You could have sold me to the Skav gangs. Or harvested me. I'm not like them." "No. You're something else." She stared at him. "You're alone." That hit harder than it should have. Ari didn't respond. Instead, he leaned back, folded his arms, and said, "Name." She hesitated. "Vela. Korell Reconnaissance. Long-range tier. Assigned to planetary remnants surveillance." "And Earth's report card?" "Your species is classified as unstable, unpredictable, emotionally volatile, and dangerous," Ari finished. She didn't correct him. He chuckled dryly. "Well, at least they were honest." A pause. "I'm Ari," he added. "Wasn't supposed to survive either." She looked at him with something unreadable. Maybe curiosity, maybe calculation. "Your former military?" "Resistance engineer. Built weapons, hacked Korell relays, patched up fighters when the real medics were all dead." "You fought us. You bombed cities." Another silence. This one stretched heavier. "I didn't choose this war," she said finally. Ari stood. "Neither did I." Later, they worked in silence. He needed help recalibrating the solar inverter. She offered to assist, not out of kindness, but instinct. She was a soldier, used to tasks and orders. The bunker's old tech fascinated her. "You still power this place with stripped satellites?" she asked, crouched beside him. "Half-broken satellites, yeah," he replied. "The rest is geothermal. We made do when you blacked out the grids." She nodded slowly. "I thought your species would fall faster." He met her gaze. "We almost did." There was no pride in his voice. Just memory. She studied his hands. Scarred, calloused, still steady. "Why did you stay?" "To remember." Someone had to. They locked eyes. It was the first time they looked at each other without anger. Just two survivors. From opposite sides of a war no one won. That night, Ari sat by the door, rifle across his lap. She slept fitfully, murmuring in a language he didn't understand. He didn't sleep at all. Trust wasn't something that came easy. Especially not now. But he couldn't shake the feeling growing in his chest. Not affection. Not yet. But the sense that the war had left more than ruins behind. It had left them. And maybe, somehow, that still mattered. Between ash and fire. The city was quieter than usual. Even the wind seemed cautious as it passed through broken windows and collapsed towers. The ruins stretched far in every direction, steel bones of what was once a proud civilization. Nature hadn't reclaimed Earth. There wasn't enough life left to bother. Ari walked carefully, rifle slung over his shoulder. Vela trailed behind, her steps light, calculated, scanning rooftops as if the war might still be lurking there. She wore an old human jacket now, sleeves rolled up, patches stitched roughly where her armor had torn. The Korell exosuit was still operational, but Ari insisted she blend in. Just in case. "Are you sure the tower's still standing?" she asked, adjusting her mask against the dust. "Half standing," Ari replied. "But it had a comm relay hardwired to an old orbital buoy. Might still ping the right frequency." She glanced sideways. "You're gambling with scraps." He shrugged. "That's what we do best." They were heading to the edge of the city, where the old Terranet towers once connected Earth's surface to the stars. Long defunct. Mostly destroyed. But Ari had spent years stockpiling salvage, and a signal strong enough might still break through the orbital debris belt. Vela was skeptical, but she came anyway. Maybe curiosity. Maybe something else. They moved in silence for a while until a sound cracked the air. Sharp, metallic. Ari froze. He motioned her down and dropped behind a fallen beam. Whirring. A steady mechanical shuffle echoed through the street ahead. Vela peeked around the edge. "Drone," she whispered. "Korell class. 9 combat model. Autonomous. Patrol mode." Ari hissed under his breath. Those were supposed to deactivate after the cleansing. "Unless someone reactivated it," she said. He nodded grimly. "Let's move." But it was too late. The drone turned. Its scanner flared red. Then it fired. They ran. The blast hit the wall behind them, flinging dust and stone into the air. Ari ducked, rolled behind cover, and returned fire, short, controlled bursts. The bullets pinged off the drone's armor. "EMP!" Vela shouted, sliding beside him. "You have one." Ari cursed. "No. But I've got a battery cell and a prayer." He yanked a device from his pack, an unstable energy core wired to a trigger. Vela understood instantly. "I'll draw it," she said. "No. I'll do it." But she was already up, sprinting across the open street. The drone locked on. Ari followed with his eyes, heart pounding. She jumped over debris, lured the machine closer, then dove behind a broken car. Ari waited, then tossed the core. It landed perfectly beneath the drone's hover pad. A flash of blue light, and silence. The drone dropped, smoking, dead. Vela emerged coughing, dust in her hair, blood on her sleeve. Ari ran to her. "You okay?" She nodded. "I've had worse." He helped her up. Their eyes met, close, too close. They didn't speak. Didn't need to. The tower loomed ahead an hour later. Blackened but intact. A miracle in this wasteland. Ari led her through the shattered lobby and up several levels until they reached the relay chamber. It was intact. Battered, but alive. Ari got to work, fingers moving with familiarity. Wires sparked. Screens flickered. Systems groaned. Vela assisted, linking her Korell scanner into the board. "If we boost the pulse through my uplink, it might reach beyond the belt." "Worth a shot," he said. They worked side by side, silent again, but not distant. She handed him tools before he asked. He calibrated without instruction. Their rhythm was natural now, earned through fire. Finally, the system hummed to life. Ari flipped the final switch. A pulse burst upward, an invisible scream into the void. "It's done," he said softly. "Now we wait," Vela added. But there was no relief in their voices. Because they both knew who might answer. Friend or hunter. That night, they sat by a small fire atop the tower, watching the stars try to reclaim their sky. Ash still floated in the air, but it was quieter now. "Why did you really come to Earth?" Ari asked. Vela hesitated. "I volunteered. Not because I hated your people. Because I wanted to see if you were really gone. And you weren't. And now I'm not sure I want you to be." Ari didn't speak. He looked at her instead. Her alien grace, her quiet strength, the way she seemed both lost and sharp as a blade. "Tomorrow," he said, They might come. We might have to fight again. I know. And if they ask you to choose? Vela turned to him, eyes reflecting the firelight. The signal and the storm. The response came at dawn. A low, rising tone buzzed through the bunker's relay system, flickering across the old monitor with foreign glyphs, Korell language. Ari was half asleep when it hit, dozing in a chair with his boots still on and rifle across his lap. The sound startled him upright. Vela was already awake, crouched near the console, her fingers trembling slightly as she translated the code. Her face went pale. "They found us," she whispered. Ari moved beside her. The screen showed coordinates, precise. Not just Earth. The bunker. How fast? Vela's voice was tight. If they jump straight from the belt, a few hours. Less if they deploy scouts first. He ran a hand down his face. "So that's it." "Not yet," she said. Ari turned to her, reading the tension in her posture. "You knew they'd trace the signal." "I hoped they'd listen first," she said. "But I should have known." "Are you in danger too?" She met his eyes. "I'm a deserter now. They won't ask questions." He nodded. No more illusions. They had maybe 2 hours. No backup. No allies. No second bunker. Just them. "I have a plan," she said after a beat. "There's a Korell listening post, abandoned after the purge. If I reroute the beacon from there, it'll mask our signal and buy us time. Maybe even convince them Earth is uninhabited again." "That post is 5 clicks through open city," Ari said. "The drones will pick up motion. And if they've landed already, I'll go alone." "No," Ari said, too quickly. He stepped toward her. "You're not doing this alone." She stared at him, chest rising and falling with steady control. "Ari, if they catch you, they'll kill you slowly. They might try to recover me. Reprogram me. But they won't spare you." He didn't answer. Instead, he pulled open an old weapons crate. Tossed her a plasma knife. "You'll move faster with 2. For a second, she said nothing. Then nodded. "Together, then." The city burned orange in the early light as they moved fast through shadowed alleys and shattered roads. They kept low, dodging patrol drones and auto turrets left behind by both sides. Ari led through terrain he'd memorized years ago during the insurgency. Vela covered their flank with uncanny precision. The post loomed ahead, black stone and curved Korell alloy jutting like bone from the earth. The building had been a forward communication base, now overgrown and eerily silent. Vela bypassed the biolock. It still recognized her, barely. Inside, it smelled like metal and memory. They worked fast. "I'm rerouting the pulse," Vela said. "When it transmits, they'll see a phantom signal bouncing across a dead zone. They'll think it's noise." Ari watched the timer tick. "They won't buy it for long." "No," she said. "But long enough to disappear." She stopped, hand hovering over the panel. "What is it?" he asked. Vela looked at him, her voice quieter now. "If we send this, there's no going back. I'll be branded a traitor." "You already are." "I know." Her eyes softened. "But this makes it permanent." He stepped closer. "You could leave," she said. "Head north. There are resistance pockets still hidden. You'd survive." "I'm not leaving," he said. "Why?" Ari didn't answer at first. Then, "Because I've lived through every kind of death, friends, cities, hope. And I'm still here. Still human. But I'm tired of surviving alone." She searched his face, then reached out. Their hands met, not like soldiers, but like something quieter. Something fragile. She pressed the command. The system lit up. An hour later, they stood on a rooftop watching the Korell recon craft fly overhead, scanning, searching, then fading back into the clouds. "They took the bait," Ari said. "For now. What happens when they don't?" She looked up at the silver sky. "Then we fight." Together, they returned to the bunker. 2 souls, neither fully trusted by their own kind. Both marked by war. But no longer alone. And as the last light faded behind the broken city, Ari felt something return. Not peace. Not safety. But purpose and love, unexpected, improbable, stubborn. Born on the last planet. Already have.